Hi, I'm Jeff McDaniel. This is your Holiday Survival Challenge Workout B. We're going 5 moves, 40 seconds of work for each one with 20 seconds of rest. You'll need to have some type of workout timer available, either Tabata Pro or Seconds or something else that you like. Now all you're going to need for this workout is a resistance band. This is optional, but if you have like an old aerobic step lying around, this is great. We're going to utilize that in some of the exercises. If you don't have this, you can also use, especially if you're at home, like the bottom step of your staircase or either a really thick book, really anything that has some kind of elevated surface. Now, if you don't have access to any of that, don't worry about it. Just use floor space and the band, and that will get it done. Here's how this is going to work. In week 1, you're going to do the 40-20 circuit for the 5 moves. That takes 5 minutes. You're going to do that 3 times for a 15-minute workout if you're beginner or intermediate level. If you're advanced, I want you to add a round in week 1 and do 4 rounds for a 20-minute workout. In week 2, we're going to take away 5 seconds of rest, so it'll be 40-15 intervals. Week 3, I want you to take an additional 5 seconds of rest away, do 40-10 intervals. In week 4, the final week of the program, we're going to add an extra round, so you'll do the 40-10 intervals for 5 straight rounds. That'll be 25 minutes. So it's a progressive program. We'll start with the base and then kind of progress from there. Let's get into the workout. All right, exercise number 1 is the in and out squat. So we're going to start kind of level 1, level 2, level 3 options that you can choose. I want to start with my feet pretty close together, inside hip width, set down in this kind of athletic position. And in level 1, all I'm going to do is tap the foot. This is called an in and out squat. That's where we start. Stay low. Think about being in a tiny house, so your thighs should be under tension, and I'm just tapping the toe. Here's how I make that harder. In and out squat jump. Out, in, out, in. And the key is, there's 2 keys actually. I want you to stay low, so don't stand up. Secondly, I don't want you to go so far out that your knees are collapsing inward. And that's a big fault of this exercise. So you start in close, knees out, even at the bottom of the squat. In, out, in, out. Now, if you want to make that harder, this is where the aerobic step or like a really thick book can come in to play. Now we just elevate it, same concept, out, in, out, in, out, in. 40 seconds on, 20 seconds of rest, move on to exercise number 2. All right, exercise number 2, we've got the classic push-up. 3 options for you to get into. First, modified on the knees. You're going to come down, screw the hands into the floor, and I want you to think about having a straight line head through your knees and then lead the chest to the ground. Down, push back up. Keep the elbows nice and tight to the rib cage. Push, down slow, push back up fast. Come up onto your toes to make that harder, and I want you to try to block the feet together. Down, push back. Down, push back. Down slow, push back up. Don't sag. Keep everything nice and tight. Now, for really advanced, take your band, slip it around underneath the arms, and now we're going to do a band push-up to intensify that. Boom, boom. Now, one thing you can be aware of is hand position. The closer your hands get in, it's going to be harder. It's also going to target a little bit more of the triceps, which are behind. As you widen out, it becomes a little bit more front shoulder and chest. So you can play around with the different hand positions, and both of them have their merit. So, you know, you kind of choose, but as long as the elbows kind of hug the rib cage, you're good. 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest, move on to exercise number 3. All right, exercise number 3, we're going back after the lower body, and in particular the legs, with the alternating lunges. So let's start here. Level 1, I want you to go reverse lunges. It's a little bit easier to kind of learn, balance, control, what muscles to use. So I'm going to step backwards into the bottom of the lunge, and notice it's this opposite arm leg action, pull through, and I want you to alternate for this 40-second work period. Step back. It's basically a little touch and go with that knee. Stay nice and tall with the upper body. Here's how I make that harder. Alternating forward lunges. Same concept. It's this opposite arm leg action, almost like a running motion. Switch legs each rep. And this is more challenging because you change your base of support. And I want you to get this concept of pushing through the heel and midfoot of that front leg. So control, push back fast. Control, push back fast. Now, here's some other options. You can play around with your aerobic step if you have availability to that, and go back, reverse off of it. It'll allow you to go deeper than you would if you were just on the ground, so it increases the range of motion. Really super challenging is to step forward off of this. Again, and the height of the box is going to play a big role into it. Step here, push back fast. Again, heel, mid-foot, push back fast, and that is super challenging. Okay, for exercise number 4, I want you to perform 40 seconds of the band swing. Now, if you've ever done kettlebell swings, this is a similar movement, just done with the resistance band. You're going to begin first with the band deadlift. So I want you to start about hip width apart, keep a little bit of slack in between the feet, and just get this concept of hinging at the hips. You're nice and flat, head through hip, and then stand squeezing the glutes. Hinge, glutes. Hinge, glutes. You can pull up to get a little bit more tension on the band. So play around with that and really dial in and grease the groove of that exercise. In level 2, we go into the band swing. So I'm going to hinge back with the hips and then explosively drive forward to about rib height, chest height. And then from there, I can pick up the tempo. And if you do that right, you should feel that in the hamstrings, the glutes, rear shoulder. Now, a couple options for you to make that harder. If you have access to multiple bands, you could go with more tension to make this harder. Or if it's the same band, you can increase the range of motion. So I can go from rib height to chest height to overhead. So rib height to chest height to chin height to overhead. Big key on the overhead though, let's make sure we're not sacrificing that spinal alignment. You gotta get up regardless, get nice and tight, abs crunch, glute squeeze, whether it's here, 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 or here, that shouldn't change. 40 seconds of that should get the heart pumping. Move on to exercise number 5. Okay, once you finish off this circuit, performing 40 seconds of the burpee. So there's a lot of different variations of this. I want you to find the one that makes you feel the best, but also challenges you. This is where having an aerobic step or the bottom of a staircase or even an elevated surface like a book or something can really come in handy. So you're going to start first with just the step back version. I want you to sink down with the hips, position the hands like you were about to do a push-up hold off of it. Step it back, and then step back up and stand, always prioritizing head through hip. Good posture all the way. You perform 40 seconds of the step back burpees. In level 2, you can get into the jump back version. So I'm going to squat down again, jump it back, get nice and tight, squeeze the feet together, squeeze the abs, come wide, take a stand. Squat it, jump it back, here, stand. Level 2, actually level 2. Level 3, you can do some things, a couple different options. Push-ups at the bottom, jumps at the top. So squat it back here, here, explode. Slow and control going down, fast going up. Again, you can play around with your box height. You can add push-ups to it, you can add climbers to it, and really find the version that you like the best, because hey, that's what this is all about. Perform 3 or 4 rounds of this circuit for week 1, and then follow the workout descriptions for weeks 2, 3, and 4. Good luck.